This is the You Ask, the Pros Answer podcast. Do you have questions about an upcoming exterior contracting project? We've got answers. Welcome to the You Ask, the Pros Answer podcast. Welcome to the You Ask, the Pros Answer podcast. Your questions answered by the pros you trust. Merry Christmas. My name is Cole. I'm one of the hosts of the show. I'm also part of the marketing team at Pro Exteriors. And with me today, I have owner, president, founder, my friend, Aaron Rogers. He's also one of the hosts. Aaron, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, Cole.
Thank you, good sir. Hey, if you are joining us for the very first time each week, we simply answer a question that we have been asked by somebody like you. And so this week is no different. Today is December 20th. We are a mere 4 days away from Christmas Eve. Aaron, my dad would call the day before Christmas Eve Christmas Adam, because Adam, then Eve, then Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But we're 4 days away from when the big guy lands on my roof.
Yep.
So the question that I'm going to ask you, that we're going to tackle, is how do I prepare my house for Santa Claus and his they say 8 tiny reindeer. I've never seen a tiny reindeer before. They're huge.
I think they're normal size reindeer.
Yeah, but on all like the songs and the carols and that kind of stuff, it always says 8 tiny reindeer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let me start out by sharing this quick little story. I can remember as a kid, Christmas Eve, we would go to church service as a family, and then we would either go to my grandparents or my cousin's house for like a Christmas Eve dinner. We always opened one gift from my grandparents on Christmas Eve. It was one of those times where, especially where I grew up, sometimes we would get the first snowfall on Christmas Eve. It was really kind of magical feeling. But this one in particular, we were at my cousin's house. We had opened up our gifts. We were just hanging around the living room there. There's probably a fire crackling in the background. And all of a sudden, no joke, we all heard sleigh bells coming from outside the house. I'm a child of the mid to late 80s, 90s. This is before you could get that app on your phone where you could track Santa. You know, you just kind of had to guess.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing sleigh bells thinking, we've got to get home. And that was the biggest worry I had as a kid. Now here I am, an adult. Dawn and I have 2 kiddos. And so now not only do I have to like pay bills and pay taxes and go to work and that kind of stuff, now I have to worry about getting my house ready for this guy who is overweight to climb around on my roof and then come down my chimney. And to be honest, I don't even have a chimney. We have an electric fireplace in our living room. So I want to walk you through some scenarios. I just want to get your hot take on what I ought to be doing between today, December 20th, and December 24th to get my house ready. All right. I'm a bit of a pack rat. What do I need to do when it comes to the clutter on the outside of my house?
Clear it.
Okay.
Clear the clutter.
All right. Satellite dish gone. Do I need it?
Get rid of it.
I haven't had a satellite dish in 15 years. Loose shingles.
Probably get them taken care of. Probably get them secured down. Yeah.
All right. Now my house is brand new. It's like 6 months old. But for our listeners that are living in a house that's a little bit older, what about like weak spots on the roof? If they've noticed any sagging, that kind of stuff, what ought to be done?
Yeah, I mean, so if you've got like a sagging spot, it'd be a couple of different things. So it could be a pretty telltale sign of like an active leak. You know, if things are sagging, it's usually because the plywood's failing and the shingles are, you know, essentially just kind of concaving into that area. So yeah, definitely before the big guy shows up, you want to get that taken care of.
All right. Yeah. So that's an immediate need. I mentioned I don't have a chimney, but for our audience members who do have chimneys, any suggestions on what to do to prepare?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you want to make sure they're secure. The flashing's tight. Everything's caulked. Everything's nice and secure. And then, you know, if you've got a real wood burning fireplace or chimney, you know, getting it cleaned once a year before the big guy comes. I think it's just common courtesy. So he's not covered in soot, and then he's going to
Right,
track
right,
it to
right.
every other house. And I mean, that's not good.
So we've talked in previous episodes about the importance of getting your roof inspected yearly. Would it be wise to kind of do the chimney cleaning around the same time, you think?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's typically going to be two separate contractors. You're going to have a guy that's going to take care of the roof and the flashing, and then you'll have another guy that takes care of the chimney. So like stuff like chimney sweeps it's a very, very small niche. There's only a handful of people in this area that really, really do that. So yeah, so we as a company are not going to do that. In the same way as the chimney sweep company is not going to go in there and patch up shingles and replace plywood and do all that stuff. So, but yeah, 100%. That should be, if you have a wood burning fireplace, that should be getting cleaned every single year. Not only for cleanliness, but also for like a fire hazard. That creosote can kind of cake onto the inside of your chimney. That stuff is super flammable. So,
all right, for those of us without chimneys, we all have boots or pipes with boots. What do you say about kind of maintaining that? Should we be having that looked at in case Santa's got to be coming down one of those?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
if you've ever seen the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, I mean, he's pretty much gonna morph or kind of mold himself into whatever he can fit in. So yeah, all those pipe boots, you want to make sure they're nice and tight. If they're older, as soon as he stretches that pipe out to fit himself down in there, that dry rot's going to go. So yeah, definitely. If you've got some issues with your pipes, definitely want to get them taken care of.
Any other structural things you think of that ought to be checked before we move on to I have some questions about creating a welcoming atmosphere for the big guy, but any other structural things that ought to be checked?
No, not so much. I mean, the heavy hitters, sagging plywood, the chimney, the pipe boots, things like skylights and things like that. All those things, you want to make sure they're nice and tight. I don't know. I guess it depends on if he gets you in the beginning of the night or at the end of the night, how heavy that sleigh is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of the sleigh, my family just took a trip and we flew on an airplane. And so, there's runway lights on the side that guide the pilot. And so I'm wondering if you can make some suggestions on the best way to light the outside of your house on Christmas Eve so that Santa can find his way.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas lights are not just about being festive. I think they're also, like you said, they're kind of like runway lights to mark the house out. So making sure they're nice and secure without obviously causing damage to your roof or to your siding. They make those little plastic clips to kind of hold lights in place. But yeah, I think if you have the availability to light your roof up accordingly to make sure he knows exactly where to land, I think that's ideal.
Now, the movie Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase?
Yes.
He put lights all over his roof.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure he used a staple gun.
Correct.
What kind of damage does that do to your shingles?
So the first thing we'll say is if you do that, it voids your warranty right away. Not only does it void your contractor's warranty, but it's going to void your shingle manufacturer warranty. But essentially, depending on the shingle or the staples that you use, those staples could penetrate all the way through the shingle. If they do that, then essentially you're putting, tiny little holes all over your roof. I have actually seen that happen a lot over the years where people go up there and they, the ones I've seen used previously that kind of cracked me up was a guy who was an electrician and decided to use the little staples that they use to staple Romex wire to the side of the studs.
Oh my goodness.
He used those over his entire roof. And yeah, it cost many, many thousands of dollars. Yeah. So don't do that.
So like you said, maybe stick to those plastic clips that can go right on your...
Yeah, the plastic clips work really, really well for like along the gutter line. They make some other ones that kind of like slide in between your drip edge and your starter strip, or they make some that kind of slide underneath the drip edge. I mean, if you're one of those people that likes to keep your lights up year round, no judgment here. But if you're going to do it like that, or if you're, one of those people that like to put up lights for every holiday or occasion, They do make some really nice, almost like a permanent bracket that you can put up in place that makes it really, really easy to kind of, throw the lights up, take them back down whenever you don't want to have them. And they're not so like visually obtrusive that you're going to hate having them up there. So.
All right. Now, the last thing my family does before we go to bed on Christmas Eve is we put out some type of a snack for Santa, sometimes even a snack for the reindeer.
Absolutely.
What is your family's treat of choice that you might recommend?
It varies. There's definitely chocolate chips. Chocolate chip cookies are always kind of the big one. We've done brownies in previous years. Of course, we leave out a glass of milk. And then usually carrot sticks and celery sticks for the reindeer. So
beef milk or almond milk or soy milk, oat milk.
Cows for sure. Beef milk.
I heard somebody call it beef milk. I don't.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's an odd choice of
beef milk.
Beef milk. Okay.
If somebody could
saying that now,
drop that in the
beef
comments
milk.
Where that's from. It's from a TV show. I know that for a fact. Parks and Rec, one of the later seasons.
That sounds accurate. Yeah.
It was that lifestyle blogger. She called it beef milk, and they're like, isn't that just cow's milk? Okay. So let me recap some things, make sure I have all this correct. I need to clear the clutter. I need to make sure that shingles aren't loose. I want to make sure that my decking on the roof is all secure. Nothing's sagging. Nothing's waterlogged, moldy.
Yep.
Best way to do that, probably to call a professional. It's getting colder in most parts of the country. Harder to walk around. It's really rainy here today, so things are slick. So call a professional for that. If you have a chimney, get it cleaned yearly, right? If you don't have a chimney, we've all got pipes coming out of our roof. Make sure those pipe boots are good and secure. And then don't put staples in your roof, right? Mm-hmm. Bad call. And don't forget the snacks for the big guy. Maybe throw out a few carrots for Rudolph and his compatriots. All right. Aaron, I've got a quick poem to read. It's a bit of a recap, just kind of like what I just said, but maybe it'll help get us all in that festive Christmas spirit. So
love it.
Maybe you have your own glass of eggnog or hot cocoa or milk. Sit back and listen. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children all nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wandering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the house the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof, as I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." But wait. There's more to this Christmas Eve tale, for Santa's arrival requires some skill and some ale. First, clear the path, make the walkway so bright, with lanterns and lights shining ever so bright. For Rudolph's red nose, a beacon so grand needs a clear runway across the whole land. No icy patches, no slippery slopes, just smooth, snowy paths for his reindeer's swift hopes. And the chimney, my friends, that's a critical spot. Soot-free and clear is an absolute must I've got. A little bit wider for presents so grand, and maybe a snack, a sweet Christmas hand, some milk and cookies, a carrot for Dasher, a thank you to Santa, it couldn't be basher, a sturdy roof too, no leaks in the night, for Santa and Rudolph to shine ever so bright. So gather your loved ones and spread Christmas cheer with a home that's prepared and banish all fear. For Santa's on his way with presents galore, so open your hearts and let Christmas adore. All right, that is all we have for you today on the You Ask the Pros Answer. In fact, that is it for season 1 of our show. We're going to take a short 2-week Christmas break, but we will see you back in the new year, actually on January 10th for the start of season 2. We're excited for what 2025 might bring. Thanks for being with us throughout season 1. As always, would you help us to continue to get the word out about our show? One of the best ways to do that is to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, follow us on social media, or simply tell a friend. And before we go, we want to hear from you. What are some of the questions you have related to home remodeling? Maybe the process involved, the options that are out there. Would you please send your questions to info@askproexteriors.com and in the subject line put "You Ask." If you are facing an upcoming home project, or if you are preparing to welcome Santa and his reindeer this Christmas season, we hope this episode has empowered you to tackle it with confidence. Remember, knowledge is power, and a little bit of research can go a long way. Until next time, happy homeowning and Merry Christmas. The You Ask the Pros Answer podcast is produced in-house by the Pro Exteriors team. Pro Exteriors is the exterior contracting division of Empire Construction Group, LLC. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. For more answers to your questions, please subscribe to this channel and podcast so you'll never miss an episode. Do you have an upcoming home remodeling project? Find more answers to your questions at askproexteriors.com.